Hey, welcome to the Den Code Podcast. This is podcast 7, and let's get right at it. So today I'm going to just start up, and we're going to just get real comfortable here and start talking about how supplementation is the biggest thing out there right now in the fitness industry, and what to get and what to stay away from. So for me, I've always been a big promoter of proteins, especially if you're not getting enough in your everyday life. If you're not eating enough, so then there's always that protein shakes. I've been using Revolution's Whey lately. Has very low sugars, low fat as well, high protein, 28 grams in each scoop. Protein. So that's number one. I would go with protein. I've just am in the gym too much to be eating enough, so I need to drink it. I also encourage amino acids, but amino acids being you want those higher ones. So like leucine is a big amino acid, and leucine's going to help you out just with muscle lean body mass. So that's something that I would look into and consider even pairing with. You can get pure leucine supplements now, so you can put that right into your protein. Another supplement that I would consider is glutamine. I pair that with my protein and my leucine. So after I work out, after my fast is over, I actually put my leucine scoop in, my glutamine scoop, and then I put my what is it called? Rival US Gainer. That's the gainer I'm on right now. Just a little protein gainer. So again, protein, but this one's gonna have a little more carbs, the higher end carbs. It's got a lot of sweet potato, stuff like that. And if I actually read it to you, it would say, let's see what all of them are. Organic quinoa, sunflower oil, wild blueberries, rolled oats, ginger root, brown rice, monk fruit, flaxseed, oat fiber, coconut, and avocado. So that's the natural high quality calories in there. So there's one thing I would look into. The Clean Gainer, and I have been using that, and I have liked that supplement. And then behind me, actually, in the corner, I don't know if you guys can see, I don't think you can, is Amino IQ, which is one of the better aminos for me because I don't use pre-workout. So the Amino IQ I really like because it's going to have that neurotropics for your brain, gets that brain function up. I found myself, honestly, I have more I literally can focus way better on it. I don't use pre-workout because this has caffeine in it. So I've switched my supplements over to these. So really, at the end of the day, I use my Amino IQ before I work out. I put my leucine, my protein, and glutamine in there, into my after workout, So that's kind of my supplementation. I don't have a ton of supplements in there, and people always ask, what are you on? And that's basically it. I fast every day. I eat healthy at nights when I am done my work day. So that is one thing that I have kind of shifted into, where the Amino IQ is my pre, and then during I'll even maybe have another amino acid. The one that I like to go to is Revolution. It's got candy flavors, my sweet tooth. So that's an amino acid. It has leucine in it as well. So that's my during. And then after, I would put my protein. You can use that Clean Gainer. If you want in that, you can put glutamine. And then another way is if you use that Revolution, you can put your leucine and your glutamine into that. So that's that portion of this. I'm done talking on that. If you guys ever have questions, you can always email me or leave it in the comments and I will answer those. So that is on the supplementation of things. Now let's get into the podcast. So today's podcast, we are going to focus on summer achieving things and how to, with a busy life, still make time for yourself. So a lot of clients that I've been talking to are busy bees. The Busy Bee podcast, that's today's. You're busy bees, there's lots going on. Do not let your workouts be neglected. So how do we do this? You got to make time for yourself. That's the number one thing in this world. If you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it for you. So if we look into how to schedule it in, that is exactly what you need to do. You need to get your phone out and you need to schedule in your time. So if you can do that, it'll be in your phone. You have to. You can't book over it. And make sure you don't. Even though you're like, well, it's just my time. My time is the most important time. That's where we grow. The other thing is you also want to have a little bit of open time in days in case, you know what, you're having a rough day if you can, throw in a workout. You don't always have to go to the gym for them. If you're looking for an outdoor workout, or if you're looking for a quick cardio hit me up. I can always help you out with workout plans. I also have my training app so I can build it right for you. It'll help you out and it'll really build that a little stronger for you so that you're always getting challenges. Not to just push myself, but I can really help you out in that regard. So if you're looking to get pushed, that's the way. The busy bee syndrome, everybody does it in the summer, especially up here in Canada. We have a very small summer compared to a lot of the United States and some of the nicer places with heat all year. So this time of year, the gym is neglected. People are outside. They're thinking they're being active, but that heart rate's not getting up. We're walking rather than we're actually getting that heart rate up and getting either a cardio blast in or a huge rep day or instead of a volume day, a higher weight day, or however you want to hit it. But we're missing out on those because walking isn't going to get that heart rate up and it's not going to do as much as you think. So I would challenge a lot of people to start looking. There's a lot out there and you can see how to do outdoor workouts from any. You can do squats outside. You can do lunges on the grass. You can take a ball and throw it. I'm a big pusher into the slam balls, the bigger medicine balls. You can use a med ball, especially partner training. It's a great way to work in the summer outside if you want. Find a hill that you can push that ball up the hill. You can, and then if you want some success at the top, roll it back down, throw it back down, go grab it, push it back up. Just small things like that can really hit you and really change you up. So those power motions that we do in the gym with sled push, you can do it with a ball, you can do it with a plate, you can do it with whatever you got, push it up a hill. So think of it that way and really start challenging yourself. Make you time. The busy bee syndrome cannot be an excuse for not hitting it still. Next thing we're going to talk about, the busy bee syndrome shifting into bad eating. Because you know what? Summer's here. I know barbecues. We're still keeping that one day. I challenge all of my clients to do the idea of we need to have one day where we have treats and the rest of the week we stay to that diet and we keep it and we keep the lower carbs if that is for you, if that's a diet that you're looking for, and you want protein in there and you want some of those healthy fats. That's the thing that I've been pushing a lot. I've actually decreased my carb intake and I found that helped me. In the summer you have way more energy, it's hotter, so you can actually push more in a day and you have more energy by not eating as many carbohydrates. There is time after you work out, of course. I'm not anti-carb, but I'm just saying that is something that you can look into. The next thing that I would like to talk about, though, in this podcast is that busy bee. So the burnout, it's huge. The burnout, how do we counteract the burnout? So we've been talking a lot in other podcasts about how to always get the mental right. Now it's the physical portion we're going to talk about today a lot, right? That busy bee. We need to keep the mental, and if you need to refer back to some of the points, refer to those old podcasts that I got on there because there's lots of good quality in there. But today the focus has got to be on that busy bee and how we make time. So right off the bat, if you can surround yourself with a group. I've talked about GroupMe before, but group of your friends, just throw it in there. I'm doing this today. Anybody interested? If you can get another person that's with you, it can really help you. It can push you because when you have an off day, they can be like, hey, let's go out, let's do it. Those type of things really help. That's where personal training is really great. People don't understand that. Well, why do you need one? You need one because it's a partner and it really helps you push yourself and find that what you're capable of. Because a lot of the time we settle because you know what, that was a little tough and that was good, I worked. But really you can do more. And pushing yourself is huge, but having a little extra push is great. So whether that's getting a personal trainer to build you a plan or having that friend that can push you, you need that. And I think that's how we counteract the busy bee, because a lot of the time we pack our days up and we don't have time for ourselves, or we overdo the social aspects of life and we're doing so much out that we're not actually taking care of the home base kind of ourselves and our physical and our mental health. So that's something that I would look into. And the busy bee syndrome is huge and it's out there a lot. And I like to refer to it in the summer a lot because there's bees out there. So if you can think of that, I want to be a worker bee in some aspects of my life, but I don't want to just not take care of my special great portions of my life, being my health. You cannot let a busy life affect that. So we need to look into how to counteract those. And when everybody has a lot going on, you still need that hour. half an hour. Think of it this way. If you only get a 15-minute workout in, it's better than nothing. So push yourself for as much as you can. Figure out the time. If you're a morning person, do it in the morning. I'm an evening person, so I work out in the evenings. You figure out what works for you. The next point that I want to get on is just remember this busy bee, but we're going to get on to the next big point that I have here is the how to change that workout so that it does not get to be the same thing. So for that, how do we change it up? The pyramid idea is a huge thing. Everybody uses it. You go lower on the reps, and then we go we kind of do lower, and then as you get better, you get higher reps in there, and then you have where you do higher rep to begin, and then you go to the middle rounds, if you want to say, or sets where you do higher weight, less reps, and then you back down. It's great, but your body does get used to it. So you need to have days. I've just recently switched myself to this where it's a rep day and where it's a weight day, and where if you have your weight day, do something else. So if I'm doing heavy deadlifts, or if I'm doing heavy squats, or I'm doing cleans, or I'm doing lunges, whatever that is, I'm doing something else. Throw a mountain climber and do some crunches. So you're always doing things. If you can keep that heart rate up, it's huge. It will also help in that busy bee. So what we were talking about earlier, if you only got an hour, you can get more in. Take less breaks. Build yourself up to that. It's not something for somebody just coming off the street to try, because you're not going to stick with it. This is an advance, so you build yourself up to that, where you're doing things constantly in the gym, and your recovery rate and your heart will go up, and your time in the gym will go down, and your results will go up. So it's a great thing to actually look into and kind of change up your workout plan. The pyramid idea is great, and I encourage it to some people if it suits your needs, if you like to get comfortable with the exercises, because the number one thing at the end of the day is you need to get comfortable doing something. If you want to be a master of an exercise, you need to do it. So you need to get in there, and you really need to get those reps in. And at the end of the day, every sport talks about it. Baseball, football, hockey, soccer, everything you need to get in the practice. That's why we practice. Same thing in the weight room. We need to get those times in. So when a client comes and sees you and you're thinking, okay, why is this not happening when somebody asks me that? This is why. You got to put the time in. And you got to put the reps in. And it's not just a punch clock. It is getting the work in. So if you got to do just squats with body weight to get that, so that form is perfect, then that's what we go with. And until you build up and you get your rep count really high and you become a master, and I think we always can fix little things, then you can start adding crazy things in there where you're doing squats into something. And I'm talking two heavier weights. Like I've been doing berserk squats, and then I'm doing front squats, and then I'm doing box squats, and you can do all your squats back to back, which is crazy if it's a rep day. And building yourself up to that is great. Great way of training your heart is you do it with a crazy big exercise like a squat, and treat it that way. Squat is a big exercise, same with deadlift and cleans, and then add a mountain climber, something you're comfortable with. If you have success and you're adding it with something that you're learning on, you will get more comfortable doing it. I think that really helps out most people that I've worked with. You gotta pair it. The spaghetti theory doesn't work. And by that is where you throw everything on the wall, as we talked about, and you hope something sticks. That just doesn't work for me. So you need to really look at what you're successful at, what you're good at, and build off of that. The busy bee syndrome, this helps, because you know what? If you only got 20 minutes, squat your heart out and do mountain climbers and throw some lunges in there. You gotta work out in 20 minutes, and you know what? It can be a crazy outdoor workout. Do as much as you can and then be done. It's better than nothing. That's the way I look at it. If that's all you got and that's all you can afford for the day, but I'm pretty sure most of us can have an hour or 30 minutes at least. If we cut that TV time down, think of that. When you wake up, do you need... Maybe the best thing to do is, if your energy levels are down, is get that workout in before. And maybe at night, if you got too much going on in the mind, go in and do something quick outside, or go into a gym and do it. That busy bee syndrome is just going to go from day to day, and you're not going to actually build up the strength of yourself. You want the strength of yourself. You want to empower yourself, and this is how we do it, is we break down things so that you realize why you do it. If you realize why you're doing something, you will stick with it. Working out is huge, but it does not mean that we have to go to a gym to do it. You can do it at home, you can do it outside, and I encourage, especially here in Alberta where we only get a small summer, is do as much as you can outside. And you need to get those workouts in so you get comfortable. You get your sun if you're going in the middle of the day or the morning, or even at night here because it's up till 10. You'll actually energize yourself and empower yourself. The supplements I talked about earlier, if you're not getting enough energy, maybe an amino acid with that leucine in it and something with a higher, maybe a little caffeine. I'm not pushing caffeine, but it's natural. I'm not talking Monster Energy drink here. I'm talking an amino IQ with caffeine, or a black coffee, or whatever you need. That'll help you. You also run those calorie deficits if you're not eating enough and you're not getting enough. So if you get the higher quality calories, and I'm talking good carbs, and I'm talking really high quality fats, and when we're talking protein, you want quality protein. We don't just want to be drinking whey protein all day. You want to get real proteins in there as well. And when I say real, I mean like chicken, beef, that meat, and every so often get your supplements. I live in a gym, so I do have to take supplements. So I've tried to find my favorites, and I've tried to cut down. When I'm on weekends, I don't drink it as much, because you know what? In my week, it's not that it's bad for me. I just don't want to only be drinking protein. I want to be eating protein and getting that in. So that's just a tip. If you can empower yourself, you're going to last longer in the process, and you're going to, you know what, empower yourself for life. And that's the whole power of it. Is a busy bee. We got lots going on, but you need time for yourself, and you need time to work out if that's something that's important to you. And if your health is important, then I think that you should really invest in yourself, really. And that's the way I look at it. Invest in yourself. Empower yourself by making these small moves every day that'll set up a week. If you can only afford 3 days a week, 3 days a week is way better than one or none. Think of it that way. Working out is something that should be part of the schedule, but it should be a part of the schedule that helps the rest of the schedule so that your health is better. That's what you're investing in yourself, and you're investing in success down the road. So the busy bee syndrome, and I've mentioned this a lot so far, is something that you can't take lightly, because a lot of people push it back and say, I can do this in a month, 2 months, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 months turns into a year turns into 2, down to 5, 10, and then you wonder what happened. So just remember, if you take it daily and you get a little workout in here, if you got to jump on a bike when it's nice out, whatever that is, do it. And really empower yourself. If you can get on a sports team, or just pick up and have a group, there's where those group me's are great, is I want to go kick a soccer ball around. 3 people kicking a soccer ball around, still a lot of fun. Football, same thing, throw it around. Slow pitch, softball, baseball, whatever you want there. Basketball, there's a lot of outdoor hoops here, I know. If you want to shoot that, you know what, it's just anything like that is going to make an activity that's fun you are going to stick with. If we're hating something, and I'm not saying hating in a lightly word, because a lot of people hate things and they just didn't give it a chance. So if you naturally do not like to run and your knees are painful, figure out something else. Do it on grass, something. Do something that you enjoy so that you can stick with it. If biking's an interest, go with that. I'm just trying to encourage that improvement of yourself through these small little tips. If that helps, then good. Because the busy bee syndrome, as I'm going to keep mentioning, is something that people they take it lightly, and they think, you know what, I'm really busy and I'll push it down. But it never is now. It's later, and later is not going to fix it. So we need to make that just aware of it and make time for yourself and invest in yourself. Another point, now that I've talked enough about the busy bee syndrome, is just how do we start something? And people are always wondering this. How do I start it? How do I get going? How do I change it? And that daily thing where you set yourself up, and as I've said in podcasts before, we write it down. We mentally empower ourselves by believing in ourselves. If you invest in yourself, like I said, and put the time in and get those reps in, you will start to become better at it. You will. And I believe in it. And I believe that if we start being aware of what we're doing wrong, and that's why it's nice to have somebody with you. Oh, you're slightly rolled forward, try pushing it back. Like something like that, even in a squat, can really help out. And if you're understanding why you're doing something, you will stick with it rather than somebody just telling you to do it. And that's how my training is. If you want to be told exactly why you're doing something, that's what I do. And it's an empowerment plan, so that if you're on your own training, you should feel comfortable and you should feel like, I know what I'm doing and the reason why I'm doing it. I'm going to try this, this, and this because I want to improve in this area before I see Cody again. It's a great idea, and I encourage a lot of trainers out there to push this as well, is you don't want your clients only training when they're with you. If they can be empowered and do it on your own, your billboard just got bigger. Think of it that way as a trainer. And it's not the selling portion, it's the results portion. And it shows that people you invested in your people and that it'll really help them down the road. I think that at the end of the day, most people really, all they want is a chance. And most people, do you know what you're going to see in life? They've either been doubted, and you need to believe in them, especially in this industry. There's my training little tidbit and learning is invest in your clients and empower them rather than be a crutch. We talked on this on the last one, crutches, but the empowerment plan, you got to give that, and you got to improve your clients. That's the number one thing. For the general public, empower your friends. And the busy bee, if you see a friend, like we were saying earlier about the busy bee syndrome, you need to be that person that's like, okay, we got to make time here. We can't go down this road of unhealthy and then in the winter hit healthy, and then you're wondering why you're not in that state of mind and your health isn't there because you haven't invested in that long term, and how you're going to empower yourself needs to happen today. And I strongly believe in that. And I think that you need to invest today if you can, and get those people, and you want to be one of those people that pushes your friends. And that's how this life is going to set up. So that's great. So we just talked about the busy bee syndrome. Now let's wrap this podcast up with a great juicy tidbit that I like to empower all of you with. So the number one thing that I see nowadays is use your social media. And we've talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about this today, is you need to invest in people you believe in. And that's the number one thing. Surround yourself in your social media by successful, great people that you believe in. And have those people that, you know what, push you. Not the ones that are going to pat you on the back. So on your Facebook feed, your Twitter, Instagram, follow the people that are positive, that don't just say positivity and then have negative posts and running people down. You want to focus on that. That's the biggest thing. So I'm going back to that because it's such a big thing. You need to empower that, and it needs to get into your mind, right? So if we want that busy bee syndrome to be gone that we were talking about, we need, and it's not so much gone as we want to make the most of our days and find time for ourselves. The social media could get cut back, to be honest. If you want to look at it for a certain amount of time in a day, okay, but you need to cut it. We've talked about before cutting in the morning and night so that your mental health is great. That is something that I like. And in the day, if you want to have your social media at points, then make sure that we're surrounding it. I called it spring cleaning, and I got rid of people that were not successful in the mind state for me. They're not setting me up to be successful. And negativity and bringing people down and bashing them. Honestly, I don't need to go on my social media and see political views and bashing people and thinking why, oh, you're an idiot because you believe this. Because you know what? Those negative, it's just going to lead you down the path. So the social media aspect of this, invest in the great people. If you need podcasters, find the positive ones that really push your intellect and really make you start questioning why you do things. I think that's where we really grow. You really grow in some of your toughest times in life. You're not going to grow as much when you're on the top of the hill and winning. When we have a few losses, that's where we're going to learn and why we do it. That's where training, like I said earlier, can really help you out, is you can get wins when you're at your lows so that when you get up top, you are more steady, so that we have our highs and our lows, but our lows aren't that low and our highs are super high, because when you have a good time and you're working out, you're feeding off both. It's great. So your social media, just make sure that we got that. It's the golden tidbit, and I think that's the thing I've learned the most from, is if you can make your YouTube channel, if you're using YouTube, watch the guys that are great and the guys that really challenge. And if they use humor, you love it, because humor is great. Mine is a little more focused right now. We're not using humor as much just because I want to get my point across, and I want to focus on how to empower you. The mental side of things, I love to come back to, and that's where this is. I love to include a little segment every day about it, because I think that that's the thing that's neglected the most. We talked about all the stuff earlier today, the busy bee and the supplements, but the thing is, you want to invest that time that you got, because time is worth so much. There's no price tag on time, really. So if you can look and invest time in proper things. Social media, negative people, arguing with people you don't know on social media, probably not a great place to go. So I'm trying to lead you down an idea rather than a path, because nobody can make you do anything. Is the idea of invest your time into those successful people that are going to help you be successful. If they're negative people and they're going to bring you back, maybe have a talk before you cut them. But if they continue it, just say, you know what? We can still be friends outside of here, but I just can't look at this every day when I open my Facebook or Instagram. You need to surround yourself with success if you want to be successful. I do believe in that. If we're always doubting things, there's a lot of doubt out there. We don't need that on our social media as well, because everywhere else people are going to doubt you. You need to believe in yourself. So surrounding yourself by that. If you need, every morning, look up a YouTube after you've had your coffee in that hour of you, so that you can look a little YouTube video, inspiration. If you can get in a group me, do it. If you want to be included in ours, let me know. I can include you in ours, because the success rate will go up when you have a group. Sports love it. Military loves it. They're actually at a higher grouping than we are, because in life we want to be so solo and just be with our partner or be with our family and not include other people. We want to empower your group. So if you are positive and you want to bring it and you want to be pushed, you can always join my group me, because I think that the group me's are great, and I think it's a great push because it's one of the best social media aspects out there. Is you get in a group with positive people, you vibe off each other, and you can really encourage and kind of not be boastful, but kind of be being proud of your accomplishments. It's not rubbing it in people's faces. You're just proud of yourself. Pride, you got to be careful with it, but if you're proud of yourself, you need to believe in yourself as well. We don't want to be just, when we're doing great things, just keep it to ourselves sometimes. So GroupMe can really help out there. I'm looking at the long term, why you stick with something. So that is why I made the Trainer Eyes the motion for my clients. So I have that app with all the exercises on it. And then we went GroupMe, so that all my clients, whether you see me in person or online, you're all in there, so you get all of that. It's great, and it's empowerment, and it helps you. And a lot of my clients have loved it, because you are pushing yourself to the group, and you are really starting to believe in, and you're seeing all the success of other people, and you're like, I can do it. He did it, I can do it. He's great, I'm great. And then you get this team atmosphere, and you're happy for each other. It's amazing. If you can find that, I encourage it. And that is where social media is great. If Facebook can do that for you, then I encourage it. I just could not find that on Facebook as much as a GroupMe, because you can really control your group more on the GroupMe. Facebook, you can use people from Facebook and add them to it, of course. But I'm just thinking, so, you know what? It is the general public at the end of the day, and people can put negative things up there. So you got to be careful with that. Same with Instagram, same with Twitter, and YouTube as well. People are going to dislike things just because they don't like what you're saying. And you know what? Stick to what you believe in. And life is very short. So you need to believe in and why you're doing something. As I said earlier, I think if we know why we're doing something, we're going to stick with it. If I just tell you to do something, you might do it for a while, but then you're going to question it. You need to know why we do it. And why we want to do it is because I want you to be successful. So this is how the empowerment goes, is you want to be empowered and you want to move forward in your life. The busy bee syndrome happens to so many people. You want to control the next day. And that's going to wrap this podcast up. So as we're thinking to what I want everybody to be challenged at is go forward and look at the social media and look at the busy bee syndrome and look at the summer as an empowerment area where we can really set ourselves up for success rather than become lazy and just want to sit around. Really try to push yourself. Understand why you take supplements. That's why that portion was included. If that's something that you like, please let me know. Comment or send me an email through chughes@ualberta.ca. I can help you out with those things. The biggest lesson from today is you need to be able to identify if your friend has busy bee syndrome or if you do, and make time for yourself, as well as look at your supplements. I think that's a little point in the tidbit that I threw in. And the very end, that social media is you want to surround yourself with success. So go push yourself today. I know we can do it, and have a great week. See you guys later.